Welcome back to the Four Podmen, the wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamite Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available through Spotify, Apple Tunes, Podbean, wherever you pick up your audio shows. And if you'd like to contact the show, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at @TPodman. Joining me tonight, as always, my brothers in arms, Ian the Dynamo Kelly. How we doing, Ian? Love that.
I'm doing good, man. Sporting this lovely, fresh Bret the Hitman Hart vintage t-shirt.
And the man who delivers the meat to the podcast every week, Joe the Beef Duignan. How are we, Joe?
I'm good, pal. I'm also sporting a classic wrestling t-shirt. Bit of Just Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, good friend of the show. Also joining us tonight, a special guest who's making his return to the podcast. The man who put the slam in Power Slam. Finley Martin. How we doing, Finley?
Doing fantastic, and I'm letting the side down by not wearing a wrestling t-shirt. I'm wearing a Vince Ray and the Bone Shakers t-shirt.
That's not a bad choice, though. Not a bad choice.
People can look up who Vince Ray is if they can be bothered.
I know. I feel old now.
I'm wearing my shirt tonight out of solidarity for the man Alistair Black. So there you go. Yeah. So. Yeah. Let's get into the meat of this. Last week, we dropped a show, the Four Podmen, where we decided to book our ultimate WrestleMania card. And some of the stipulations were that the match couldn't have happened before. You could pick any wrestler from any era. You could pick any match, any type of match, any gimmick. But it had to be WrestleMania main event level. So this week, Finley's coming on the show to deliver his ultimate WrestleMania card and shall compare it to ours.
I'd like to preface that by saying as well, as Finley knows, we've been kind of friends for a few years now, so I've gotten to know Finn quite well. But one thing that we've almost duped him into is something that I never saw much from all those years of reading in Power Slam, and we managed to give Finn something. I suppose with all the kind of doom and gloom of the dark side of the rings and all that, the preface for this, and the theory behind this was Niall's shout, actually, was that we would kind of have some fun and think of the wrestling again, you know what I mean, and just think of what's going on under the lights. And so for me, it was actually exciting when it was perfect timing. I was like, right, Finn is coming on the show anyway. It's a perfect opportunity to get Finn to pick his top 5 or whatever it's going to be fantasy matches, because Finn, you've obviously reported on wrestling for so long, and it's going to be cool to hear you actually get to pick your favorite matches and kind of get into the mind of the great Finley Martin and see what he wants out of his wrestling.
Finn, if you can imagine, go ahead, Jen.
Sorry. I was going to say, now the matches that I choose are these matches that can never have happened anywhere before, or matches that haven't happened at WrestleMania.
Well, we'll go with haven't happened at WrestleMania.
All right. Anywhere. Okay. All right. Okay. Do you want me to read my selections out?
Yeah, we'll do it one by one, and we can talk about your selections.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go with a pretty obvious one, which may well have already been selected. I'm going to go with 2021 Roman Reigns, 2021 model Roman Reigns versus the 2008 model Shawn Michaels.
Ooh, that is actually I like that. So the return Shawn Michaels, the clean, healthy,
exactly.
Basically, we won't give Star
the overseller.
The overseller.
Well, but that's only against Hogan and a few others.
Only against Hogan, yeah.
The important thing to consider here is that the 2008 version of Shawn Michaels would do the job.
Yes.
As we know, the 1997 version of Michaels was reluctant to look at the lights. Ergo, 97 Michaels versus 2021 Roman Reigns could be problematic when it comes to working out who's going over.
Oh, that's a great match, man. That doesn't need stipulations right there. That's
none. Doesn't need sexing up at all.
No. Is there a time limit?
Well, I mean, I would think you probably wouldn't really want it going over 30 minutes. I mean, most matches, let's face it, if they go more than 25 minutes, I mean, look at some of those matches we've seen in NXT, totally self-indulgent where they're going 40 minutes, particularly Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in those War Games matches. They're just out there too damn long. So, I mean, to me, 25 minutes, I mean, I guess you could stretch it to 30, but that would probably be for the rematch. So you'd have one match and then you do a rematch the following year, almost in the tradition of Michaels versus Undertaker in 2009, 2010. And I think those matches could be, absolutely stellar, epic, and, just the sort of matches that are going to change your life.
Yeah, I like that. Noel, what do you think?
I'm just thinking Roman Reigns going in for a Superman punch and taking a smack of a super kick. I'm all over it.
The timing that they could have got right there would have been phenomenal. And I think like Michael's like guys, his stature, the Ballers, the Brets and all that, they always worked well against big men anyway.
Yeah.
And Roman isn't exactly like a big man in the category of The Undertaker. He's more a big man in the category of the Triple H and, Randy Orton and guys like that. So the size is perfect. And yeah, that I really like that match. That's a nice modern one. I like that.
All right. Is there anyone else who wants to comment on the match?
Joe?
Just that you went for the returning Shawn Michaels, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea of 2021 Roman Reigns losing anytime soon. I absolutely love how dominant he's been, and I'd like it to stay that way for quite a while. So I think that was an excellent idea.
Jay, did you get that one? No.
Sound
isn't working yet.
It could be interesting conundrum though if you had the 97 Michaels as well, and how Roman would react to that kind of situation as well.
Yeah. Well, that would for us, for people who are have got an ear to the ground. I mean, that would be even better because of all the aggro backstage. And then just the chaos. Michaels walking out, Vince having there. Having to have a sit down to try and put the match back together, after it's postponed. Shawn suffers another career-ending knee injury,
loses the smile.
Loses his smile again. Then we're going to have potentially a double cross later in the year. The possibilities are endless. Hey, we have somebody else who's just joined us.
He's here. We can't hear him yet, though. He's having sound issues, but he will get there.
Right, okay. Do you want me to move on to the next one?
Yep, push on.
Right, okay. Well, now this match did happen in WWF, and I watched it earlier today. And it's Hulk Hogan versus Terry Funk. Now, this match did happen on the January 4th, 1986 episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. And it's kind of a bit of a comedy match. If you go back and watch it, it's actually really entertaining. But Terry Funk's really hamming it up a bit too much. And he's not in particularly good sort of cosmetic physical shape. So he doesn't really look credibly like a match for Hogan. But it is an entertaining match. And I think as a WrestleMania match built up properly, I think that could have been tremendous. I just think they could have absolutely brought it, done big business. And Funk healing it up, Hogan, hamming it up as a baby face. I think that could have been massive if it had taken place in 87 or something like that, or 88.
Would he have been coming out? Terry would have been coming off the back of Roadhouse around that time, maybe as well.
I think Roadhouse was later than that.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was about 87 or 88 Roadhouse because he got himself in really good shape for that match.
Yeah.
And sorry, for that film. And then he came back and had the run with Ric Flair in 1989 when he was his career. So this was earlier than that.
That's why I ask you these things, Finn. My aim is to try and one day be as good with dates and years as you.
Yeah. But I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's a sort of a good match for its era, and it's just a TV match. It's not really a pay-per-view match. But you can see from the way in which they work together that they could have put something serious together. Had they had the time in the ring, and the creative preparation and the investment, and the booking support, they could have really, I think, had something quite special. Well, that's another choice. I don't know what anyone thinks about that.
were you going with a straight up match there, Finley, or was there any gimmick in it or stipulation or anything like that?
Well, I mean, again, you know, for a Hogan match from that era, you would traditionally just have a straight match. Then the gimmick match would be the rematch. So, you know, ideally, I suppose your WrestleMania match would be the first one, and then maybe you have a gimmick. But you could do that. You could jazz it up a bit by making it like. I mean, I think they did.
Jesus.
In WWF at the time, certainly did cage matches, and I think they could have done something quite special with a cage. I mean, Funk was very creative, as we know, with props and gimmicks. So yeah, maybe the blue barred cage. You know, let's bring that one out for the match.
I like that.
I was thinking real old school. I was thinking like a Texas bull rope match or something like that. I was thinking something crazy.
I don't think WWF would have been ready for that, but that blue barred cage definitely sounds about right to me. I like that. Yeah. I mean, you know that there's gonna both men definitely would be getting some color in that, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I'm thinking back to two when you had like swap out Bundy and put in Terry Funk. Would be really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, anyone else want to comment on that match?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. You have landed.
Forgive me, man. I bought a new phone today, and I thought it was a great idea to set it up with an honored, prestigious, and you know, guest such as a former alumni and current podman. I thought, yeah, you know, 5 minutes before go time, I'll set up this new technology. What could possibly go wrong? You know.
Everything.
Well, yeah. But again, my apologies, man, and anybody watching. I'm sorry if I gave you vertigo. I didn't think we were live yet. Oh, we're live, good. Pal.
Can we start again?
Did I miss all the Hogan stuff?
No, we're just doing it now. But
did you hear this? Did you hear the match that we were talking about? Did you hear the
Hogan and Terry Funk in the blue steel cage?
Anything and any time I get to see Big Red and Yellow bleed and squeal like a fucking pig, you have got my pay-per-view money. I want that.
Oh, you assume Terry Funk was going over, yeah?
In this one, it doesn't matter who goes over. I know whoever is going over fucking hard. It's not going to be easy on their body tomorrow.
They're making that. They're earning that money, yeah.
The moral and violent victory was mine. Excellent.
Right. Okay. Oh, by the way, we mentioned earlier that another one of my picks was the 2008 model Shawn Michaels versus the 2021 version of Roman Reigns.
I got that now. I could see that being a highly entertaining scrap, in fairness. I mean, the 08 Shawn Michaels versus bleeding anybody. He could wrestle a shadow and it would be I'd be in. But I'm a big fan of the development of Roman Reigns since you've last been on, and nobody can question his quality as a fucking as a goer. Nobody. That's marquee match right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And we also came to the conclusion that had it been the 1997 version of Shawn Michaels versus the 2021 Roman Reigns, and Shawn was required to put Roman Reigns over, that could be even more entertaining in its own way.
I'd love the man standing in that gorilla position saying, "You got it, pal. You got it, Shawn. We need you, whatever." And then Reigns going by going, "Don't let him win."
No, that's like real Superman punch, yeah, real.
Screw job 2, the screwing. Go out there and take care of business, son. It's your future. These are your bright lights. Shawn, we got it. Yeah. Lovely ring gear. Love your work.
I'm not losing to anyone.
I think on this one, you might not have a choice. So number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Well, this one took place as well and was a big fat disappointment when it did at King of the Ring 1994. And the match is Roddy Piper versus Jerry Lawler. Now, I would want this to take place in about 1988. Now, this match was supposed to take place in Georgia Championship Wrestling in November 1982. Lawler did a lot of promos for it. You can find them on YouTube if you want. The match was all scheduled for Big Show. I think it was at the Omni in Atlanta. And then Ole Anderson, the notorious Georgia Championship Wrestling booker.
Mr. Brightside.
He ended up firing Piper before the match happened because Piper had been on all these massive drinking sessions I think with Tommy Rich, and kept arriving late for shows.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Ole Anderson didn't put up with any of that. He didn't tolerate tardiness. Piper, who was like one of the big stars of the territory, I think he was making about $3,000 a week at that point, which is obviously huge money in 82.
500 quid after his bar tab came in.
Yeah, Anderson's like, that's it, you're fine. You had to go and work for Jim Crockett. So obviously they had the match at King of the Ring in 1994. Piper's heart really wasn't in it.
No.
It was a colossal anticlimax. But I think those two could have had a hell of a match at WrestleMania in like 88. I think that could have been tremendous. You know, Piper was the face, Lawler was the heel.
I like it because, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, look, whatever we say about Jerry Lawler's work was in the ring, bell to bell, was stellar. I mean, his punches were phenomenal. He could work, he could go. And I mean, in terms of those styles, for me, actually mesh up perfectly because you have the brawler in Piper, and especially as babyface, they would have had some. Imagine the promos building up to that. Yeah. Good Lord.
I see that one as being a great character piece. I don't see that being too much of a wrestling match. I see that as being Piper versus Lawler, persona versus persona. It'd probably have more straight punches in it than Piper versus Mr. T did. Like, probably just people beating the shit out of each other and working the crowd hard from character perspectives, which Piper lived to do.
Well, it wouldn't be. It probably you would get elements of I think of the WrestleMania 8 match with Piper and Bret more than likely in that, because the technician versus the brawler kind of thing. And I know Lawler wouldn't be the technician that he was, but he would have been more the wrestling guy. But Lawler was a hell of a brawler in his day as well. I mean,
that's what I mean. And I mean,
you're actually right. Yeah,
I mean, when men throw down
with
fists in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, I'm talking myself out of it. Yeah.
Piper can go, or Lawler can go with anybody, but Piper picked and chose who he gave the Mania quality matches to. And if there's a bit of a beef and a grudge about him losing a job from 6 years ago, it's like, oh really? You want a punch, do ya? Yeah, I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Noel, that sounds like your number.
Who else? Some more comments from some other
Noel,
people?
that's definitely Noel's number, yeah.
I'm thinking Piper going in as a face, but probably leaving as a heel. I can imagine putting a serious beat down on Jerry.
So one more person to comment.
The beef.
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, I just I'm looking at this, Findlay, and am I?
No, you're back.
I'm back in the room.
You're back here.
But I'm just looking at this, Findlay, and it's almost as if, like, since Jay has joined us, you've gone for two of his favorite wrestlers in a row, Hogan and Lawler. It's almost like you've studied the man. You're trying to piss him off.
It's definitely sarcasm being delivered as well.
Finley is setting up next season's Dark Side of the Ring indirectly.
Only with the Four Podmen.
Dark Side of the podcast
series now.
It's ironic. Neither Piper or neither Lawler or Hulk made it onto any of our super cards.
No.
Yeah.
I like, and they definitely have their place there, like in the grand scheme of things. So it was they're too good. I like the idea of those matches.
Okay.
So that was number 3. We've got another one.
Right, number 4. This may well have already been suggested. I'm going to go with the Midnight Express as heels.
You've got me now.
Versus the Hart Foundation as faces. Again, from around about 1988. I think that match could have been, Jim Cornette. Midnight Express, obviously the bad guys. Hart Foundation, who I remember when I first started watching WWF wrestling, they were villains, and I didn't think they were going to make it as faces. And obviously they were a huge success as baby faces. I think a match could have been, extraordinary. I think it could have been out of this world as a tag match had it taken place in that era.
I would say that, like, technically, you're probably talking that has the potential of being one of the best tag team matches of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh yeah, give me that sauce all day long. Someone else take over from this before I get too excited. Noel.
I'm getting excited on the dynamic between Jimmy Hart and Jim Cornette, to be honest. I can see Jimmy coming around the corner with the megaphone and Cornette taking the head off with the racket or something.
Yeah, because Cornette could actually, Cornette would finally get someone his size. I mean, obviously, Hart wouldn't have been managing them. Jimmy Hart wouldn't have been managing them as baby faces. So we're getting ahead of ourselves there. So I think I read Findlay's mind there. So it's Hart Foundation straight up, with Jim Cornette being the nuisance outside rather than
absolutely.
Yeah, but I think, lads, I think this would have to take place in Canada, and the Midnight Express could once again cause another riot.
Yes,
because it would be fucking war. It'd be red fucking hot if that happened up in Canada. The Hearts versus the Midnight Express. It could literally, the match probably wouldn't get to finish because it'd just be overrun by the crowd. It'd be insanity. It'd be amazing. But even if that didn't happen, it'd be an amazing match regardless. It'd be unreal.
I'll tell you what, we need the real Mounties to escort the Midnight Express out of the country.
The real ones, not that other one.
We got to call in Ted the Friendly Bear as well to help with this one.
I'm just trying to imagine Cornette's tennis racket cover. I just imagine him just rip into the Canadians like with it,
Yeah, like you'd have a Canada flag with a big X on it. Just something simple. You know what I mean? Nothing too drastic. Something simple.
As long as he doesn't clean his nose with it, he'll be doing all right.
Yeah. That's very, very good point. Very good point.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I've got I think probably another one, which did take place. Actually, no, I can't say that because this did take place at WrestleMania. I was going to suggest Randy Savage versus Ric Flair from about 88, but obviously we saw that match in 92.
Yeah.
And what occurred to me when I wrote this down was how much those guys both aged between 1988 and 1992. And who says the life of being a pro wrestler during that era was easy? Go back and look at just how youthful they both looked in 88 versus how grizzled old veterans they looked in 92. But anyway, the other one I'm going to, because since that already taken place at WrestleMania, I'm going to go with Savage versus Hart. Randy Savage versus Bret Hart, which I think should have taken place in 1993 anyway, instead of Hart versus Yokozuna. I think that match would have saved WrestleMania 9. Obviously, Savage was the last man that Yokozuna eliminated from the Royal Rumble that year. And that was the first Royal Rumble in which the winner would receive a title shot in the main event of WrestleMania. That's what that's a match that could have happened that year, but obviously didn't. Savage was on commentary at WrestleMania 9, wasn't even booked on the show.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, look, you're at the pushing all my buttons there when you mentioned Savage and Hart in the same sentence. I think I speak for all my fellow podmen here on this one. That is, I mean, the color in that match alone, the full pink of Bret, and you can imagine Savage would have done a nice number too, obviously. I mean, those guys match up. I mean, in every sense of the word, they match up. I mean, they were probably a similar size at that time as well. Savage was still agile as fuck, I mean, especially with Savage coming in as heel Savage, that would have just been absolutely perfect. It would have been the perfect ploy. And, obviously, Bret got over at that time, but not as much as he could have, because obviously Hulk was there. Yeah. Thanks for that, Hulk. Taking Hulk out of the equation and them wanting to get Bret over as the new face of their generation. You want to talk about passing the torch.
Yeah.
That is the perfect one.
That match would have strapped a rocket to fucking to Bret in 93. It would have. And we know
the sympathy Jay alone, right?
We know Macho Man has no problem with doing the job and looking at the ceiling whenever the reason is right and it's bigger, it's best for business. And he carried that all the way through his career. He's seen the value in the victory for two men, not just his own fucking ego. And that thing would have put a rocket onto Bret.
And the thing is, like, Savage, who was kind of like, Bret was almost his protege anyway. Bret had said that in his book, in the sense that he always looked up to Savage, you know what I mean? Especially in that locker room. And I think Savage had a soft spot there. So that would have been, first you had Piper the year before. The year before. Yes. Putting him over. Then you're getting Savage doing it. And like, I'm just thinking the sympathy that Bret could have gained, from the crowd with Savage there. Oh, good Lord.
Not to mention, speaking from a promo perspective, like having a run of going through previous legacy legends to ascend as the new blood, it looks wonderful on your record when the last decades geniuses have put you over and it's like, this is the kid the locker room wants to go through. He's the next one.
But it also, timing wise, it would have made sense because, I mean, those, you know, the big four, as they say, you know, coming off the back of, I know it was previous, but coming off the back of SummerSlam 92 with Davey, you know, I mean, you've got a hot run of actual wrestling matches as main events. And to have another one with Savage and Bret, I mean, that just would have been, I mean, you probably would have had the best year for anybody, you know, calendar, I don't mean calendar year, but like pay-per-view year of anybody probably in the business. If that had been main event, that would have just literally been the icing on the cake, I think.
Disc 2 in that career triple disc would have been fucking red hot. It would have been sensational.
Yeah. Definitely a credible build-up, and two wrestlers that are absolutely meticulous in their work. But I wonder, Savage walking in with the layout of the match of Bret going, can we not just call it in the ring? You know, imagine Randy having a meltdown. What's this?
Bret, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Well, can we not just call it?
leave it there on the table. I'll have a look later.
No, I think with Bret that would have been worked because obviously Bret was capable of doing that style as well because he had obviously put the matches together with the likes of Austin with certain spots and time, and so I think more so with Bret that probably would have worked better.
He would have met him in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. There would have been a nice delegation there between those two, you know. Joe, what do you reckon? I know your eyes are lit. You're the Savage man.
Look, it would have been spectacular, lads. It's not like as Finley said. It would have saved Mania if they'd actually done it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't go down as the stinking pile of shit it actually ended up being, because there would have been, you know, like, you know, it would have finished on such a high. That's what people would really remember from. Now you go back retrospectively and watching, but Jesus Christ, this was a bad WrestleMania. But you know, that match would have been spectacular.
And the fact that Hogan that Hogan got the black guy from Savage, if you put him in there, Hogan's afraid to even turn up to be involved in that match. So
well, we sell the black guy from the Terry Funk match earlier in the night.
Yeah, no, but the legit black guy that, you know, as according to Jim Cornette and many people that, like, he thought everyone knew that Savage gave him that black guy. So I think, you know, that would have been a case where Vince says, we need you to show up at Mania. It's Bret and Macho in the main event. That's not going to work for me, brother. That would have been one for the good.
It's a good thing his trunks were already yellow, you know.
Yeah. Finley, what do you reckon?
So that's the 5. I also had like DiBiase versus Hogan in singles.
That should have happened, properly.
He never had.
Yeah.
And another one also that was for Ian's benefit, Stan Hansen versus Kenny Omega.
You know what? I'm all over that.
It's a joke.
No, I'm all over that because I would have loved to see Stan Hansen get his hands on him.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was just like, Ian would have that as a one-sided beatdown of Stan Hansen just shooting on him.
If I'm booking that match if I'm backstage and I'm the booker there or I'm the agent, Finn, and you're obviously the promoter, you've told me to book this match. I'm like, listen, Kenny, just go out and trust him. He's going to call it in the ring.
That's it. That's JBL Blue Meanie shit there, isn't it?
Yeah. Tape your eyes in before you go out, son. You're going to need to stay.
Do you ever hear of a lariat, or do you have a Mexican word for that? Yeah, well, you're going to find out real quick. If I was you, I'd learn the word lariat and don't call it an El Lucha Lariato or something like that, you know? Watch his work.
Fíjate, increíble.
Yeah. But suicido. Oh, shit, he's dead.
Nice and snug.
Yeah. I like that.
So that's my card. So there you go.
I love it. Now we have, you know, the unenviable task of taking two of those matches out to add to our already stacked WrestleMania card that we had. And obviously you are the guest of honor, Finley, so we can we'll allow you to have those extra matches. That's no problem.
Right, he was allowed to have a 6th match.
Yeah, you could have had 20 matches and we'd have still listened.
Well, if I could choose any two of those, I'd go with Reigns versus Michaels.
Yeah,
probably Piper Lawler. Just because.
Well, mine is Bret, Savage, and Michaels Reigns for me.
All right, okay. I just there would be no other match like that on the show. That's why I would chose Piper Lawler, because you want your matches to be different, and that would definitely be different to everything else on the show.
Now, Finley, even though you're the guest of honor, you don't get to pick your own matches either. So this isn't our first rodeo now.
He's not a guest of honor. He's the prodigal podman. He's just been away. He went off to get a newspaper there a few months ago.
No, I'll tell you what. Well, why don't we? Right. I think what we should do then, realistically, as the guest of honor, we should add that, because in fairness, that is a match that I think everyone would like to see. So we'll put that. He's chosen Piper and Lawler, so that's an in. So I guess it's up to the four of us then to pick two of the rest and see what we would add.
Yeah.
I mean, they do 5 hours anyway, so we may as well add another couple of matches.
Our supercard is looking like a 2-dayer, isn't it?
Yeah. They do it anyway, so.
Exactly.
I'll start then. I'll go with the Reigns and Michaels and Bret and Savage.
Yeah, I'm going with Reigns and Michaels, but I like the idea of Hogan and Terry Funk in a cage just to fill out the stadium.
Okay.
Ever the promoter.
You are a businessman, Noel. Yeah, that's true.
I'm soft on Macho Bret. I'm soft on that. I'm soft on that for a classic slice of 45-minute in-ring action. Yeah,
that could be a 45-minute no bother. Yeah. So, and what else, Jay? That, and are you thinking Reigns and Michaels, or?
I love asshole Sean versus fucking current strong Reigns. I do like that. I have to. Yeah, I have to. Well, like I said, I'm super soft on Reigns right now. I think he's holding that company up on his shoulders. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but Reigns this last year has been a superstar. Reigns and Drew,
Yeah.
So yeah, no, those are my choices.
Yeah. Okay. Joe.
I'm torn here. I like Savage Bret is one. Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking Midnight and Hart Foundation, right?
Yeah.
Big time. And especially when I thought of it happening in Canada and the chaos it could cause.
So
yeah,
we're going with dual location mania as well, are we?
Just for a one-off match, like.
and then Bret has to fly down straight after for the main event.
Cornet versus Canada.
Yeah.
Not to mention he was on the opening match in our card.
I know. You done 3 matches in the King of the Ring in one night, just saying.
Yeah, so the Savage Bret and the Hart Foundation Midnight Express, or Reigns versus Michaels. I think Reigns versus Michaels is going to get in anyway, isn't it? Regardless of my vote at this stage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Hart Foundation Midnight Express then.
Good choice.
So that means it's me and Jay have chosen Savage and Bret, so that gets through, and then Michaels and Reigns
gets through.
Yeah, wow. There are 2 matches that have just been added to it now. That makes a hell of a card. So I think we should let Finn know what we had beforehand.
Finley, you haven't seen our card yet? No, our final card. No.
Let's get a whiskey.
We started with Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean that's an obvious one that's been talked about a lot, and Angle always says that's the match that he regrets not having.
That's his dream match, yeah.
So that's kind of a predictable one, and one that absolutely, should have taken place, like or Kurt Angle versus Jack Briscoe would have been amazing as well. Yeah. But I mean, a modern twist would be Angle and Hart, and that could have been.
We have Goldberg to thank for that, though. So,
Well, yes, that's it. Yeah,
we preface that though. That's one of our kickoff matches from the kickoff show.
No, it's not. He's adding that in.
Then we went with Mask versus Mask, Rey Mysterio versus Tiger Mask.
Why would that need to be Mask versus Mask?
See, I chose this match. They added the Mask versus Mask stipulation. It was just like, okay.
You don't. It doesn't need to be Mask versus Mask. You're rushing into it.
See,
I mean, who's booking this?
It's our fear of getting fired the first night if we get it wrong. You see.
You know what I mean? That's the match a year down the line, Mass versus Max. Yeah, I definitely like.
We'll call this a blow off for all the feuds. This card is a blow off of feuds.
All right. Okay.
This is 2021. You got no more time to build characters.
We already know what they look like now, anyway. So it's like.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We're using Tony Khan's money. Leave us alone.
We've Kevin Nash to thank for that anyway, as well.
Then we went with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that would have been that amazing. I mean, to me, Ricky Steamboat was somebody who I always kind of thought he was a bit overrated.
Oh,
I know you're not allowed to say that now.
Well, you can say what you want.
But to me, you go back and watch Savage Steamboat WrestleMania 3, and it was like mega mark-out match. But like you go back and look at it, and I don't think it's really stood the test of time. And to me, his matches with Flair were pretty good, but I preferred the Flair Funk stuff. I mean, I know they were, classics, and everyone raved about them.
I'm out of here. I'm only messing. I'll be back.
Joe's about to lose.
That's it. I've upset someone else. No, I could understand why it's been chosen. And Steamboat, obviously, was very well respected in the business. I mean, I always remember in '94, somebody I know was speaking to Steve Austin, and Steve Austin said that Ricky Steamboat was the best wrestler that he'd ever been in the ring with. He was just that good. So he was very well respected in the industry as somebody who, just knew how to do a match, never hurt anyone, ultra professional, you never had any problems.
Very wholesome.
Yeah, exactly, And, if you go back and look at his tag team with Jay Youngblood, that was like one of the most amazing tag teams of, mid-Atlantic history. And he was a huge star. Obviously, he was really good. But I don't know. I don't know whether that match would have been quite as good as people think it would be. But that's just me.
Next up, we went with a fatal four-way. So we went with Finley versus Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit versus Dynamite Kid.
What, Finley as in Dave Finlay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, on a WrestleMania show?
Absolutely. He had a leprechaun.
We're crowbarring a bit of Irish in there.
Oh. Well, I would have substituted Finn Balor for Dave Finlay. Now you're talking if you got Finn Balor in there instead of him. Now that could be a fatal four-way to remember. But I suppose Finlay would have been good in the sense that he would have been like the rhythm guitarist, wouldn't he? He would have been the guy holding it all together while everyone else had these big star moments, and doing all the big moves. And Finlay would have been the guy who would have just
holding it down.
Yeah, he would have been the one just linking it all together and just everyone else in there was really talented.
He hates Fit Finlay.
The fatal four-way. Finley versus Chris versus Eddie versus Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, I think Finn, but the problem is as well with Dynamite Kid and Benoit is that they had very similar styles, and that doesn't always make for a good match because he basically did the same thing.
Yeah, well, he basically copied everything. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm sorry, but I've got to strike that one from the record lines. That's it. No, my WrestleMania dream card.
Oh, well, that's gone.
Finley, we've plenty of room to put your two matches in. Don't worry.
Lay down the law, Finley. It looks like you already are. Wait.
So this is going to be my last appearance on this show.
Never.
I can say what I want.
You're exclusive to Dynamo's dozen only now, is it?
Yeah, my card's marked. That's it. We don't want that English guy on anymore. Who invited him on? What does he know?
Doesn't like Finley. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's overrated. My God, let's do this.
Next time I'll be getting a PDF of the hymn sheet sent through.
Joe's taking notes. Joe's taking notes for the next episode. Never mention Ricky Steamboat or Fit Finley ever again.
Ian, I thought you said he liked pro wrestling.
He does.
To what degree?
So what else have we got?
Right, next up we had a War Games. We had a War Games match. the Four Horsemen versus Degeneration X.
Yeah, I like that. I think that would be an interesting match.
Phew, that was my pick. Thank God for that.
That's because there's a cage. Because there's a cage, isn't it?
No, there's two.
Two cages.
Finley, I don't think you've said anything bad about my matches yet, so it's all right. You continue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, DX, because one of my suggestions actually was going to be Triple H versus Ric Flair. You know, obviously they would both have to be in the primes, and I think
in their prime, that
could have been a special match.
Yeah,
I know they obviously did wrestle in the 2000s, but I think that Horseman to me would be the villains in that one. DX, the baby faces. Is that the consensus? That
probably the villains versus the kind of pranksters, if you like.
Yeah, DX were difficult. I mean, by all accounts of traditional wrestling tropes, they should have been villains, but the world was in a weird place where
they were real. They were real life heels.
Like on paper, they're villains,
as...
but the crowd fucking in the Coliseum gets to decide who cheers for who. Like, and you're like, God damn it, you know, wrestling
especially
like
in America. You know what I mean?
Especially
in America, yeah.
The more I think about that match, the more potential it has. Yeah, I like that one. I think that could be something pretty.
You're at the bringing him back for episode 2 now. He's back with you, Noel.
I can log off now. I'm done.
He's back with you. You've got Finn back there, Noel, on that one.
That's it. You know, I don't know whether
you're buying the ticket again, yeah?
I'll have to do.
It's still on eBay.
It
went up after the Fatal 4-Way. Sell.
But yeah, I definitely that gets the rubber stamp of approval.
Happy with that. So. Okay. Next up, no holds barred. Randy Macho Man Savage with Sherry versus CM Punk with Elizabeth.
Yeah, I can see the potential in that as well. You know, I mean, you could almost bill it as the battle of the big elbows, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, but sadly, CM Punk's big elbow was a bit crap, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't great. No, it wasn't. I'd agree with you there.
Tried.
You know, I mean, CM Punk, he just, you know, he had this image in his head of how good he was, but, you know, the reality was that it just didn't correspond with, like, how good he thought he was.
It's the fucking Blitz.
I can see what Finley means, but there's some people that think that like, because I went back and watched a lot of you know, his year run. Like, he had some great matches without a shadow of a doubt, but in terms of I think in terms of how he saw himself as a technical wrestler at times, I don't think he was, you know, up at that upper echelon. But I think as a character, as in the whole package and his promo and delivery, that's what made him so.
You whipping him off your Rushmore?
You what? Never on me. He was never there, Jay. Even though I'm 95.
He was at the extended one.
Yeah, he never made it
down towards the valley.
I'm just the doppelganger and nothing else. Should have said. That's it. I didn't choose that. That's science, bitches.
Well, I think
backpedaling.
I mean,
did I ever mention him on my top? No,
you didn't. I'm ribbing you. I'm fucking.
No, I'm trying to think back. Did I say a drunk one time?
Let's watch.
What do you reckon with that one, Finn?
I would think probably. I think probably Savage as the villain. I think would be better and see babyface.
Sure, Savage has Sherry in his corner for that one. He has to be the
villain. Yeah, he's the king.
Yeah. That was the premise. That was the premise.
Right. Okay, of course. Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah,
because that's my match as well. So you've also passed my match. Fair play. I like that.
You're overthinking it, but yeah, I think it would work better with it. Definitely with Sherry there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sherry interference. Do we need a lot of Sherry interference in the match?
No, but we just need her outside. We just need her outside looking hot. You know, just screaming and, you know, just being a general nuisance to your ears.
I mean, would it be superfluous having the Sherry Martel interference? Would that be required? I mean, I think she'd have to do a few things, wouldn't she? But I mean, yeah, that match, I think, the more I think about it, that could be something special. Absolutely. Yeah. Both in their primes. Who would go over? What do people think?
I'd say Punk. I'd say Punk purely because Elizabeth, if she's out there, would obviously come in and just, I don't know, do something.
It depends on whether or not the promoter or booker is trying to antagonize the the crowd gives CM Punk as this fucking anti-establishment, anti-hero. Do you know the way sometimes Vince likes to fuck with people and their traditional kind of character, expectations? Yeah. 80s wrestling is going over.
Well,
fuck up.
That was
to the next event.
I actually put a lot of thought into it when I chose that match, to be fair, and that was pretty much the whole kind of idea behind it, was that it was kind of going. Yeah, exactly. It was kind of to think.
18
you had Sherry there,
cartoon. Yeah,
and you had Elizabeth there. It's kind of Elizabeth is almost giving that illusion of grandeur type thing. You know what I mean?
What about another switch maybe where Sherry screws Macho over and leaves a Punk goes heel, and the Liz and Macho go back together?
Okay, let Punk leave with both of them.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that before.
Best in the world.
More than I need to. More times than I need to. Women. But that gets the Finley seal of approval. Yeah. We're 2 for 2 now with Finley. That's good.
We don't need the double turn at the end. I mean, that's candy store booking. That is,
yeah.
It's like we need some discipline here. We don't need all those run-ins, and we don't need all these double turns. You know?
I'm a big fan of that.
What do I have to deal with now? This what I have to deal with the new host. He just get his mind. He sees dollar bills because he's the promoter here. We could do this. And we could do that.
A man once said controversy creates cash.
Yeah. Noel is the Vince McMahon, and that's why Vince needed a Pat Patterson.
This fantasy booking has put all them new cabinets and shelf behind him there up on his throne.
Yeah. So what else have we got?
Finley, you're going to have to concentrate on this one, right? And it'll be interesting to see if you can pick out who put this one forward. This is the IC Generational Survivor Series match. Okay?
Jay's going to the toilet.
So we have Steamboat, Jannetty, Piper, Santana, and Ultimate Warrior on one side. And on the other side, we have Owen Hart, Stone Cold, The Miz, Ziggler, and AJ Styles.
That's Tito Santana, by the way.
Yeah.
Not the new AEW fella.
Why would we need a 10-man match at WrestleMania?
Because I was asked what I wanted to see.
Because he wanted to sneak the Ultimate Warrior into a card somehow.
Yeah.
Without him being noticed.
Without him being noticed. Just slipped through the cracks.
He wore the baseball cap.
Here's my other 9 men.
That sounds self-indulgent to me.
It is absolutely 100% a match purely for my entertainment. Fuck everybody else.
I'll tell you what, you would have gone far as a wrestling promoter with that attitude.
Jay, you wouldn't be the only one in the stadium watching this match.
And then he gets the bill at the end. What?
There was 8 men at ringside who were watching as well. I just make them pay tickets. I've already sold 10 before the bells rang.
I mean, maybe put that one on the pre-show, you know.
What we were doing there with this thing was I took to heart the stipulation aspect of the card. It was a dream card with men who had never wrestled before. And the only way I could figure out getting 9 of my favorite people on the ringside is let's go generational from 1983 up until 95 and then 95 up until current on both sides of the ring. It's absolutely ludicrous fantasy booking. But again, it made it true. You know what I mean? This was put up to my peers. I'm not the fool here. I didn't do the voting.
Well, I was outnumbered if you go back and watch it. Jay had some other great matches there on that one.
I tried to imagine Howard Finkel announcing it.
Jay actually had Shawn Michaels. Was it Shawn Michaels versus Dynamite Kid on your one, Jay?
Hold on, I'll check my book.
I believe you had a Dynamite Kid, Shawn Michaels, which I would have.
I mean, poor Howard Finkel would be exhausted, wouldn't he?
No, we'll get that blondie lady who used to wear the ringmaster dress from the early days. Remember the lady with the big hair?
What was her name?
I don't remember.
Mike McGurk?
Mike McGurk, that's the one.
I want her. Get her. CM Punk would leave a herd in the corner as well. Yeah, no, what was the other matches?
Anyone that looks like CM Punk is leaving with all the ladies.
Sammy Perfect Steel Cage. It was the Fatal 4-Way with your shot all over. I had Finn Balor and Rick Rude in an Iron Man tag versus Shawn and Bret. And Macho Man versus Seth Rollins in a loser leaves town. Those were the other 4.
Right, okay, well, I've got to question the quality control on that selection.
Coming from a man who put Lawler versus Piper on the card, pal, you've got no abilities to question quality control.
No, that's
a black and white match in the middle of a colour cartoon card.
I think Stan Hansen Omega's getting in at this rate, is it?
He is, yeah.
Listen, I know what would draw more people through those turnstiles. You know,
Brilliant.
I will say this. I had imbibed when I was doing my card, and I'm imbibing right now, so I'm happy.
Okay.
Very good.
We rounded it out.
Away from the book.
We rounded out Finley with one more match. So we had the Dead Man versus the Icon, Undertaker versus Sting.
Yeah, well, that's the match, of course, we never got. It did take place on obviously before Calloway was reborn as The Undertaker. It did famously take place on a WCW house show.
Mean Mark.
Yeah, and apparently the match was so bad that Mean Mark was sent home and Harley Race was brought into it instead.
Brilliant. Everybody wins.
That is the story. It's the house show match. And this is WCW in 1990. Talk about quality control being out the window. You know, actually, a lot of WCW in 1990 was all right. But apparently the house show match, and like they're probably drawing like 1,200 people. So it wasn't like, you know, it's taking place in front of the world. Apparently the match was so poor that, they just scrapped any further house show matches between them, and Harley Race was brought into work with Sting instead. And that was, I think, basically the end of Calloway's run. And next stop, WWF.
Unreal.
That's the way he became the Dead Man.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's just like he struggled in WCW as high scraper.
From dead career to dead man in one easy step.
But I mean, it's a huge match. I mean, it's an obvious pick. It's WrestleMania caliber. I mean, what era are we talking?
I was thinking, because I actually was the one that picked it, I believe. And I was thinking kind of 1996 Taker, 1997 even, when he was having those top matches with the likes of Bret and Michaels, versus 1997, 98 Sting.
So would that be Sting in the Crow get-up?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, yeah. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean that there. I don't know whether it would be your main event of your dream card, but if not, maybe second from the top.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a Hogan Rock match, isn't it? Like it's
oh yeah.
You know, it's definitely, you know, that's definitely putting asses in seats.
It is if on the night that the company calls and cancels Undertaker and sends Harley in.
Well,
getting an instant classic by accident.
Not in 2021.
Yeah, listen, even now, this, you know, the actual Dead Man versus Crow.
What else is there, Hogan?
That's it.
So yeah, that was our card.
That was it.
You know, my seal of that receives my endorsement for sure. Yeah, that would be epic.
Something to see.
It would be something else. Absolutely.
So we're 3 for 1. Both my matches get on and one of Niall's.
Let's just put all of them from the card in together, and we'll just do a Survivor Series. We'll just do a classic Survivor Series. 10 men in every match.
Big battle royal. I was on for 3 hours.
That's one for the Thunderdome, so nobody has to pay.
What's a battle royal? It's when we don't have enough wrestlers to justify 30 entrants.
Well,